Ooh, are we live?
Hey, everybody.
Hey, what's happening?
What's going on, fellas?
I don't know, man. The audio, I was like, well, let's turn the camera on and see what happens.
Yeah, something
welcome.
happened with our intro. Intro stopped
It's all
working.
good.
So
Just hum it in your heads for another
everybody
minute.
hang tight.
Oh no, I saw Nate in the top corner.
I didn't do it. I didn't mess it up.
Well, we're live on YouTube, so let's go ahead and get
Come on,
started.
man. Welcome, everybody.
Yeah, welcome.
Hello, everyone.
Welcome to another fun episode of the Keep Off the Grass livecast. I'm Sean from Sean's Midwest Lawns. Got the few members of the crew here tonight to talk about fall overseeding, and it's a big thing for the cool season grass friends.
Oh yeah.
Warm season, you guys might be getting ready to overseed your warm season lawns potentially, but yeah, this one's mostly about our cool season friends up here. So who do we have jumping in the live chat so far? We got
the rating KOTG Lawn of the Week. Mr. Harry Lawn was the first one in that I see.
Yeah, he was.
So
yeah.
Made some awesome
Ambitious,
videos this week.
Rooted,
yeah,
Papa,
Ambitious,
Coast, Soil, man.
Homestead,
Mr. Soil.
What's up, everybody?
Yeah, thanks for joining
Hey.
Oh, Alan Carter's here. Hello, Alan. How are you, sir?
Big shout out to the podcast listeners too that aren't in the live chat but catching up later.
Absolutely.
And before we get too far along, let's grab a glass and keep off the grass.
Keep off the grass.
I need to show Alan Hain how it's done. Take notes, Alan.
I did see him trying his hand at that earlier today.
Yeah, he looked like they were having some fun up there.
Yeah. It's always good when you get some bush lights flowing.
Yeah, they were doing an overseeding project too, I think.
Yeah, way up north.
Yeah, it might be time for folks up there to start thinking about it,
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
We're getting there.
So who is going to be overseeding this fall?
Me.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah.
Brent, I see Brent, he's already taking a hacking to the lawns. What do you got going on there, Brent? I see some pictures. I see some some scalping, some deep dethatching. What are you doing there?
Yeah. So we've talked about it a lot on the show. In the spring, when I came out of the spring, I had a big POA problem going on in the backyard. And just because I had tried overseeding in the spring and had only used tenacity as a pre-emergent, and then probably my fault, right? But I didn't necessarily stay on top of that as much as I should have in terms of reapplying it and getting a good 3 applications in there. So I ended up getting a lot of POA in there. And then I've known for a while, and it's been there for a couple of years, and I kind of just have taken the approach of I'm going to go ahead and just kind of keep overseeding it, and I'm going to keep aerating, and I'm going to keep beating it up but I've always had a problem with bunching tall fescues in my backyard.
Oh, it's the worst.
Especially like in the pictures I post. If you look at my Instagram, when you walk out the back door, that high traffic area that's kind of like right in front of my shed, that's like a straight shot from my back door out to my shed. And that's kind of the natural place for the kids to play. That's kind of, we were out playing catch last night, and we're like, that's where we're playing catch, right? That's why we're kicking soccer balls, just a high traffic area. And so there's always been a lot of bunching tall fescue. So over the last couple of years, I've always looked at it and been like, well, make it look pretty and keep it moving. So I was out yesterday and I was mowing, and I just got so frustrated with it, with between the POA and the bunching tall fescue, and then just it being a high traffic area and lots of stuff dying off because it's just there's not good quality grass that's really taken there, even though I've overseeded it and kind of gone through it. So I just got so frustrated. I just slammed the mower down and scalped it all off. And I was like, all right, I'm going to go ahead and just renovate this area. Because over by the pool, like that whole area, that looks good. I mean, there's a couple little clumps of some bunching tall fescue over there, but not nearly as much as it is in that main kind of like high traffic area. So I just said, you know what, I'm just going to go ahead and do it. I have everything I need. I have weed and grass killer. I have, the Sunjo machine. I got seed. I got starter fertilizer. Why not just go ahead and swing for it? So, so that's what I'm going to do. What I'm debating now is if I'm going to go ahead and bring in some topsoil. And what I'm kicking around though, and I'll probably end up doing, and that's what I kind of want everybody to weigh in on. I'm kicking around, because it's like kind of like a compacted area and everything else. Instead of aerating it, I think I'm going to till it up and then level it out with the soil that I already have, and then seed it after that. So I want to get everybody's thoughts on that. You guys in the chat, fellas here on the show, you let me know, what do you think, tilling it up versus just aerating it and then bringing in more topsoil to kind of level it out, because it's bumpy as hell. And it's not nearly level. So I'm like, that's kind of the other impetus for it. So it's been in the back of my head for a while. And yesterday I just got so pissed off when I was out there like mowing and taking a walk. I was like, you know what? Just screw it. My wife came home. She came home and she's like, she just saw, because you could see how I cut it out. If you didn't look at it, go check it out on my Instagram. But yeah, I cut it out, like what was good and what was bad. And she came home. She goes, "What did you do?" Said, well, that's what I'm gonna do.
And we can definitely talk about your plan, Zach. But Mark, I know you're Mr. Grass Seed, right? What's the deal with overseeding? Why do people do it in the fall? And what's it all about?
Yeah, I know. When we did our spring seeding episode, we had some controversy on here. But yeah, I know. I mean, the fall, usually for most people, they're going to put down pre-emergent, usually prodiamine or something similar in the springtime. And Brent, it's actually interesting. I did a lot of just kind of general experimenting. This spring, I was actually pretty lucky that my next door neighbor doesn't care at all about his lawn. Pretty much, he actually texted me the other day asking me if he thought it would be feasible to put AstroTurf on his yard so he wouldn't have to mow anymore. So he's been pretty cool with me and just kind of using quite frankly, his lawn as an experiment in exchange for, throwing down some fert and stuff for him. So I did the same thing for him. I put down prodiamine in his front yard, and I aerated and overseeded his backyard, which was pretty barren. And, obviously the difference in what came up in the weeds was really significant. But I actually talked to Dr. Greg about it. So I just put some the Mountain View Seeds, that Seed Superstore blend. That's the Slugger 3GL, Grand Slam, GLD, and then I think it's Stellar. I can't remember the third cultivar in there. But I put that down, and once we had like pretty established in there, I put a light coating of some dimension on there, and I was pretty surprised that honestly a lot of the post-emergent control I got on some of that stuff, I might actually kind of play with that again next year, doing like an early overseeding once the soil temperatures are up there. But yeah, basically you overseed. It's in the fall usually because it's the optimal time for soil temperatures. You don't have as much of the weed issues from their germination in the fall that you do in the spring, and you basically get your lawn ready to go in the winter and get ready again for the spring. So I'm kind of curious. I mean, for those in the chat, like if you're going to be overseeding, like say overseeding or something in the chat, and I'd love to hear from you guys, like what your plans are, when you're going to hit it. You know, we're all kind of in different time zones and in different situations and stuff.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to overseed this year.
Yeah.
What do you think? What do you think? Even at even at my old previous place, you know, when the lawn was looking good, I think it's overseeding is just something I enjoy doing. I think it gives you a leg up in the next spring, especially if you have spots that got thinned out over the summertime. But the new place, it definitely needs overseeding. So I'm going to get some, I'm debating. So what do you guys think as far as, should I use something like tenacity or something with overseeding this year? I'm trying to spray off the weeds, do some post emergent, and then I got some Roundup on some of the quackgrass or whatever it may be. At this point, though, if it dies off and I really, mow low and till it up real good, do you think I would need to use something like tenacity with my overseed?
Yeah, I mean, you certainly can, right? That it won't hurt, but at the same time, we do this in the fall to get the lawn established before the frosts start. And the frosts and over winter, if we have a really hard winter, especially that just pushes the reset button on your weeds. It'll kill them out. And
that's true.
And I like to take the approach, and I'm doing it right now actually, of spraying my yard for my bent grass and some of the other weeds that I've seen pop up. I'm trying to spray them out now, so that way before I overseed, I can come through and dethatch and get all the junk, the dead material out, right, to make room for the good grass seed to get down in there and to come in. But like the weeds that come up with the grass seed, they're mostly going to die over the winter.
That's true.
So for me, those ones aren't much of a concern. It's the big, kind of established ones, or like your problem areas where you need to clear them out, so that way you can make room for the grass seed to take their place.
Makes sense. I just want to say one thing, because I've had this conversation with a couple people in the last few days. So it obviously differs everywhere, and soil temperatures being really like the key component. But depending on what you're planning to do, I get a lot of questions from people that say, I know 365 SS has been something that that's been like the hot thing here lately. I know most of the people probably watching this understand like the germination, the window is very different between like a Kentucky bluegrass and a perennial ryegrass. So if you are doing something like you want to kind of do a reno project with Kentucky bluegrass, you got to make sure you're timing that, particularly like if you're in an area like me, like in Iowa, where your first frost might be the first week of November or the last week of October, because that grass is not, might not germinate for 25 days, and then it's going to need some time to make it through that winter. So make sure, like, if you have somebody come and aerate your lawn, like around Halloween, and you think you're going to put down bluegrass, like it's not going to happen.
Yeah, that's a good point. And that's what I did to know, I need to start spraying my lawn now, right? Because I need to do my 2 applications of my herbicide mix to really clear everything out. I need to wait, the 14 days between. So, 2 weeks, a month, right? So I know I'm a month before I'm going to be doing my overseed project. And I figured that out, right, from working back from, like you mentioned, Mark, that first average frost date for your area. And you can just find that on the Farmer's Almanac website. So look that up. And then from that date, like for me, it's like October 17th. So like mid-October. So I like to go back 45 days before then. And that's when I try to time my overseed project. So now I'm another month ahead of that, where I'm actually starting to spray out the lawn, to time it right, to get that taken care of right as I'm getting into my overseed project. And I scheduled my lawn aeration for right around Labor Day weekend. Seems to be pretty common time for a lot of areas.
Yeah, I was just about to say, now's the time I got to be making phone calls to get that scheduled too, because I was thinking sprinklers, going to pull those out to start kind of giving this lawn some moisture, and then get those guys to come in and get me slotted to pull those plugs before they start doing everybody else around, and then I can't get mine until too late.
Yeah, I mean that's another good point too, right? Scheduling and getting your products right. When are you guys doing that? Like, have you done it already? Do you wait till we get closer? What do you think?
What are you talking products? You talking
like your
services?
Well, scheduling services or scheduling like a rental of an aerator or something like that, and even buying grass seed. Like, how far in advance are you guys thinking about that and doing that?
You better have it done.
Yeah,
Or
especially during these times. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Especially this year, I would, anyone that's listening who is thinking about overseeding and you have not got your grass seed or started digging into it or been looking, you better get on it. Like as soon as it shows over, I want you on Google,
right?
Whatever it's going to be.
And stay till the end, but when it's over,
go find a distributor nearby. We hope you got one nearby, right? And go get some good stuff.
I mean, a lot of distributors are having trouble getting it, or they may have it on their website, but they're not carrying it. So it's going to be tough this year.
Well, we got Alan Carter in the chat. Alan, what's y'all's grass seed stock looking like? People can hop on Tuckahoe Turf Farms and probably grab some seed.
I hear if you buy
seems like
Tuckahoe, if you go to Tuckahoe and buy you a bag of grass seed in person, I hear you get to take a tour.
That's true. That's true.
Pretty killer.
See their 72-foot deck.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. I went. I talked about it,
and that's wide,
week.
Not even long. It's all about the
width.
That's pure.
All about the girth. Yeah, when I stopped by a couple weeks ago to pick up some seed for my in-laws project, because same thing that Sean's talking about, right? Like, all right, what's the timeline going to look like? And I said, well, I got to start on it last week. I got to get cranking on it this week. Like this is the time to start those. But that's why I said yesterday when I was out mowing, I was like, nope, I'm just going to go ahead and do it. I'm going to go ahead and start getting everything killed off and get it done. And I went and bought some seed for their place. They're about 15 minutes down the road from the farm. So I just swung by there on the way to their house and told Mr. Carter I was coming, and gave me a little tour and showed me around the farm. And it was awesome. We had a great time just kind of walking around. He's kind enough to let my dog run around. So my dog got to run around all the turf fields and stuff. So he showed me the whole thing, everything that they mentioned when he was on the show. He showed me around, and it was very impressive just seeing all the different varieties and how they have everything laid out, and just the immense size, right, of the fields. And you just walk from one end to the other and you go, damn.
Yeah.
It was cool.
And Alan said very tight, so I'm assuming he's talking about their grass seed supply and not something else. And Mark, I think their fields look so big because they keep them mowed really short and well manicured.
They also have fertilizer out there.
That's right.
Yeah, you can get it all on their website. They shipped it. I got a 5-pound bag, and they shipped it out to me in about a week. And I wanted to get, I think I've said before, that's the same grass that they grow at Beaver Stadium, Penn State. So I'm gonna have a little bit of that.
Alan just goes
now too. Yeah.
Alan said, just drop the KOTG tag when you're visiting. We'll give you the mental tour. Anybody in the Northeast.
Insider treatment there.
So I'm curious for you guys and in the chat, for people that are overseeding, what is the process? Do you just tackle it all like in a weekend? Do you start like stepping down your height of cut? I see a lot of like the warm season guys that just go through like some heavy scalping. For you guys like up here north, like, do you step down your height of cut eventually and then kind of dethatch, scalp, or do you just kind of all just shock it at once? Like, what's the process that you guys go through?
So like me personally, last year, I did it all in like 2 days. The way I looked at it is you're not going to really worry about stressing it if you're going to totally dethatch it and aerate it and all that, because doing all that's going to stress the hell out of it anyways. and you're putting new seed down and you're going to be watering the heck out of it. You're going to be probably putting a starter fert. So you're going to be giving it a lot of what it needs anyways. So in my opinion, you can tackle it all in like a weekend. I do know that this year I'm kind of treating it a little bit different. I'm going to try and maybe space it out a little bit and start out like tonight. I was just playing around and dropped my deck and started mowing a little bit. And I might do that for, the next week or two, just try and keep it a little bit lower. But kind of like you guys, like I'm going to spray some weeds this weekend. I want to spray some stuff this weekend. Kind of a note on that. I know I'm not sure who posted. I think it was Olee, but be careful with what you're spraying and the timeline of when you're seeding, because some stuff you can basically spray and the next day you can put stuff down. Other stuff you need to wait, possibly, I think it's like 2 weeks, maybe even 3 weeks. So definitely read the labels and be careful there of
28 to 30 days.
You're putting down. Just make sure make sure you know what you're putting down and if it's going to affect seed, because last thing you want to do is, do all that prep work and spray some stuff and do everything. And then you put your seed down, it won't germinate because of what you did prior to that. So
yeah, that would be bad.
So be careful with that. I mean, that's definitely a warning, but, as far as like starter fert, you got the stuff with tenacity in it. I know like Scott's makes one. I don't know about any of you guys, but I know like Mark, I'm still hanging on to some of those bags that we got back in February for like $7 at Lowe's. So I still got like 3 of those that I'm looking forward to using. So I've been thinking about that. Been thinking about that a lot. So.
For those of you, I know there was a bunch of people actually listening to this that I actually got the idea from spraying lawns. He posted something. I got that. It's funny. They went from, I think the coverage on a bag went from 5,000 square feet to 4,000 square feet. They changed the labeling on it, like just the packaging, and now it's like $9 more. It's like $45 a bag out here at Lowe's. So I think that's
Yeah, when those were going around this spring, and you guys and everybody, like all of Instagram, was running around to Lowe's and Home Depot and going, "Yo, look at the starter fertilizer that I just got for, pennies on the dollar." Yeah. And I looked at it and I was like, "Wow!" Just because they changed the volume of the bag, and because they changed all the labeling and the art on the bag, just incredible.
Out with the old, in with the new, right? And something else to think about too. We kind of talked about timing a little bit. I think it's worth kind of noting too that a lot of people that have like YouTube channels or are creating content about overseeding projects, they're out there doing it now, and they're, for all intents and purposes, a little bit early for most parts of the country, except like, the way far north parts where you get frost really early. But they're out there creating content so that way they could have it posted when everybody else is overseeding their lawns, like when it's the normal time for everybody else to be doing it. So, don't think that just because you see people, posting on Instagram now that they're out there working on their lawn and overseeding or, doing the big sand leveling projects or something like that. Don't think that you're behind. You definitely want to make sure you're timing it right with your first frost, and, that you might be a little bit behind for getting, grass seed and things like that. So definitely take care of that now, but don't think that you're behind or try to keep up with what you're seeing people doing on their Instagrams or something like that. Make sure you're being really methodical about your approach and your schedule and all that stuff based on your conditions, not necessarily what you're seeing people do online.
Your soil temperatures and your air temperatures.
Right.
So, yeah, I think we had some hot spells last year, Sean, in Missouri. Even though the temperatures are pretty cool right now and we get some good cloud coverage, those hot days will come right back. So your baby grass that pops up in a week or two is going to get fried. Right. So
pay attention
to those air temperatures. Yeah.
Last year, I think I hire out getting my yard aerated. I did it once, and I found somebody that'll do it for like $45 or $50. Yeah, and that's pretty much a steal. You can't even rent an aerator for that much. So I have him come and do it. And he didn't come last year until like mid-September. which I thought was going to be super late, but it ended up being okay because it was so hot into the end of the year. But then all of a sudden it got really cold, like right around Halloween.
True, too.
It dropped real quick. So you got to.
Yeah, I did mine at the end of September, so I'm thinking like what you did. I might go mid-September, because I was getting scared there at the end.
Yeah. And this year I'm going to shoot for Labor Day, just to get another couple weeks on it before the frost, so I can get another round of fall blitz nitrogen fertilizer down on it too.
Yeah. That's what I did last year when I kind of leveled out part of my front yard. I had big dips in my front yard, and I got a whole bunch of topsoil, leveled it out, and I got it all prepped in the weeks leading up, and then I think Labor Day weekend is when I actually seeded it. It was last year, so I'm kind of trying to stick to that plan this year for this backyard project that I started yesterday.
The other nice thing about Labor Day weekend is for the most part, a lot of people have a 3-day weekend.
Yeah.
You kind of get that extra day. So, I mean, you may not be able to hire someone per se to come in and work on the holiday, but you can be, if you get it done, let's say they come out
during the week beforehand.
Yeah. If they come out Thursday, Friday, or even Saturday and do some of the work, you can be out there doing your seed, doing your starter fert, maybe, if you want to put some peat moss down or whatever it is, you can do all that on like that Monday. And so it just seems like you got a little more time to do it. And that's kind of why it's a good time frame for those in the Midwest.
Yeah. And when you guys overseed, what rate are you using for your seed? You don't want to go too thick with like 27 Cs, because then you get bad airflow problems and overcrowding, and that could lead to fungus and stuff like that. But you don't want to go too thin either, because then you get, your thin bare spots. So what rate do you guys overseed at?
So I'm planning anywhere from 1 to 2 pounds per 1,000 is what
you're using
bluegrass.
Kentucky bluegrass, right?
Yep. I'm going to do bluegrass, and it's going to have a little bit of rye mixed in with it. I'm going to do the Mountain View Seeds 365. But then I'm also going to throw a little bit of the Grand Slam from Mountain View Seeds in there as well, just because I got it left over from last year and I like the way it looks.
Yeah.
So I'm going to kind of blend those two together. But that's my plan. But yeah, 1 to 2 pounds is kind of where I'm going to sit. And, if it's 1.5 to 2.5, then so be it. If it's, a little on the other side, with the lawn that's already established, I don't think you're not going to see bare spots or anything like that, because it's already healthy enough. So
right. And Olee, Mr. Fescue freak, what rate do you use for your fescue overseeding?
5 to 6 pounds, and then if it's bare, somewhere between 8 to 10.
Yeah. And that's a good point worth mentioning too. Kentucky bluegrass seeds, like half the size and super tiny, so you get twice the amount of seed that gets out at the rate. So you can cut your rate basically like in half from what a fescue or rye overseed rate is like you said, Olee, right around like 6 pounds per 1,000. So yeah, you can kind of adjust based on whatever you're using. And then that's how you can figure out how much seed to buy too, if you still need to get out and buy seed.
Yeah. I only overseeded my front yard last fall, and I had a 25-pound bag of Black Beauty Ultra, and I only used about half of it. So I have that half bag, and then I bought another 25-pound bag because I figured got more square footage here, and I'm probably to go quite a bit heavier, further on the end of 8 pounds per square, or 8 pounds per 1,000.
Yeah.
So I got a question that I think maybe some people would like to know. We know we're talking about right now is a good time to get rid of weeds. You're spraying, whether it be killing lawn completely or just trying to get rid of some weeds and really, do some damage to it and get, some of that stuff out of there. What products is everyone using? What's the go-to? What's your favorite? What's the best? I guess what's your guys' recommendation for those listening that may want to, get that product and start spraying, give them a start of like, hey, this is a good product to use to go after either certain things like, hey, use this to address this, or this is the best thing to, cover broadleaf and, 100 different things. This will kill it. So what's your guys' recommendation?
We had Zach was out spraying his bent grass too. Zach, did we get him back? What are you using on your lawn?
He said he's out.
Oh, all right.
Yeah, I got a mic, but it's through my iPad. I'm not even going to mess with it.
Okay.
Bummer. Yeah,
So
I think
Well, I did.
But yeah, I was spraying bent grass through my lawn. This is for the podcast listeners right now. But yeah, I was spraying out my bent grass with a little goodie Olee sent, or I found randomly, and yeah, I had really good luck with it. I sprayed it early just so I could get 2 apps, maybe 3 apps down before I seed, just to ensure it's all gone.
total death.
Yeah, and that's kind of the approach I'm taking too. I got some herbicides I'm mixing up, including a little bit of triclopyr to clear up some of those broadleaf, like the clover. I think I got some what's that, purslane that's out in my yard now too. The summer weeds that come in. So trying to spray that out. And Bill, you have some grassy weeds. What are you using to clear those out?
So I did quinclorac, and I can really see a difference on some of the weeds in the yard, and definitely the clover is turning yellow. And yeah, there are some grassy weeds that are turning like purple and dying off. But there's a bunch of, I'm not good at identifying it, but I think it's Dallas grass or quackgrass, and it's not affected. So I got some Roundup, and I did my first attempt at kind of spot spraying, and I spot sprayed quite a few spots. So we'll definitely be taking advantage of all that seed I bought with overseeding. So I don't know. I'm excited to see kind of what happens in the next few days, a couple of weeks. The grass isn't really growing much. It hasn't been irrigated or fertilized, like probably for, I don't know, if ever. So I figure I'm going to get the sprinklers out and start giving it some water, maybe give it some fertilizer, see what's left over. And then, yeah, start cutting that down real short, dethatching, getting those guys out to aerate. I might do that, some topsoil, get that brought in. So this will be a big project, but I'm kind of taking it as like a learning experience, maybe going more intense in the front yard, which is pretty small.
Yeah.
And kind of doing like a test run. And then if it goes well and we're still going to be here for another year, I might broaden that out next year to the full side yard that's got a lot more square footage. So I'm excited. It'll be a learning experience, but
yeah,
should be fun. A lot of work, a lot of sore days, Mondays and Tuesdays, but I think it's fun. So I'm excited. So Cody, what are you doing, man?
Hold on real quick.
Texas. Oh yeah.
Real quick. So like, is Speed Zone a product that you could be using right now, or do you want to stay away from that because of temperatures?
What is that?
Speed Zone's it's basically like a 2,4-D 3-way type deal.
Yeah.
Oh, I know the quinclorac, it said less, temperatures below 90. I don't know if that's the same thing for most things, but you probably don't want it to be too hot when you spray it, I would imagine.
Yeah, 85 is normally the cutoff for most herbicides like that.
Okay.
And, thankfully we had a pretty cool week this week. And I say cool, we're only at like 85 this week in St. Louis, right?
Yeah.
So, this week was the perfect week to start spraying. And, in all honesty too, I know I'm doing this leading up to overseeding. So if I stress out my grass too much and it doesn't recover, I know I'm just putting fresh grass seed down anyways. So, I'm not terribly worried about it, but at the same time, I don't want to be, irresponsible about it and, smoke off my whole lawn, when I'm out there spraying when it's way too hot. So, we got lucky this week with temps being below or at 85. So I was good to start spraying. But even if it's
spot spraying, or are you doing blanket spraying?
No, I did a blanket spray on my whole lawn. Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. Yeah, there's the Speed Zone there, the 3-way. Okay. Is that the one with quinclorac in it, or is that the Q4? The Gordon's has like 7 different types of herbicides. Yeah.
Yeah.
I like
when I went to go look for Roundup, there was like different stuff in with it. And I was like, ooh, this one says like works for 12 months. I'm like, ooh, no, I don't want that one.
Don't do that, right?
The one that I can see technically, it says that you can see it after 3 days of spraying Roundup, which I thought that doesn't seem right, but that's what the label said, even though I'm still a month out. But that's kind of neat to where, you could have up to pretty close to seeding time to still spray a little bit if you had to somewhere.
And the other thing to keep in mind too is like I've heard great things about Speed Zone and T Zone, but I can't buy them in New Jersey. They're restricted here. I think it's New Jersey, New York,
like Long Island. Yeah.
There's a Hawaii, maybe. There's a couple states that have restrictions on those particular products because I've heard great things about those. I've seen really great results from people using it. And
are they combo products or just individual ingredient?
They're combo. They have, and I think the big thing that a lot of people look out for is that it has dicamba in it, and that's kind of a one that a lot of states don't want in there. Yeah, for that has a lot of drift problems.
Oh, so maybe it's like an extension of agricultural practice or something. They just don't use it at all, even though it's
I mean, pro applicators can usually get that kind of stuff with their license, but most homeowners, they don't want messing around with that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I mean, the speed zone, the T zone is just restricted to licensed applicators in New Jersey. So, I mean, you can buy it. There are places, there are, supply houses that sell it, but like homeowner, you're not going to be able to go out and get it anywhere. And you can't buy it online because nobody will ship it.
Right.
Sure. They're going to do the right thing.
Turf Track for this. But I just pulled this up from their Instagram. Turf Track posted it. But so just full transparency, I used Pilex and Tenacity on my bent grass. I spot sprayed those spots with the Pilex and Tenacity. I did not do a blanket spray. If you're going to do it, I'd be very careful. 1 ounce of Pilex covers an entire acre. So it's really hard to, one little bit you're off, you're going to mess some things up. And then I'm going to do some just blanket sprays with Tenacity, but you can see the Pilex also has no wait time as well.
That's cool graphic.
Yeah, that's a good one. So this is the kind of stuff you got to take into consideration when you're, kind of reverse engineering your schedule, right? From, your first frost date to when you want to get the seed down in the ground 45 days beforehand to, however long you got to wait after you've applied your herbicides to doing multiple applications of those herbicides. So a lot of people are starting now, especially if you are doing a burn down reno where you're just, glyphosating your whole lawn, or especially if you want to fallow it out too, right? If you want to spray your yard and then encourage anything to grow that's in there, so you can kill that too, and really, really kill everything that's in there. You gotta give yourself a lot of time to do that. But yeah, that's a really good graphic to help out with that.
The only thing I'll say on that graphic is that I feel like the glyphosate thing's a little misleading for somebody that would be maybe new to seeding. Like, you can literally spray Mesotri while you're seeding. I assume you can't effectively seed while also putting glyphosate over it.
Yeah, probably not.
So
give it a day.
I've sprayed glyphosate, give it 2 hours to dry, turn around seed. Phenomenal results.
Really?
Yep. And me and William Wood is the one that come up with that graphic. And I know several people have had things to say about the glyphosate deal, but a lot of your farmers are putting seed in the ground and spraying Roundup at the same time.
I mean, I saw the Fescue Freak on the image. So, Olee, I'm curious on that. So, so you've actually had situations where like you've put down gly, and then 2 hours later you put down seed.
Yep. I just let the glide dry to where it didn't track on the tractor tires or the push spreader tires or my feet, and spray it, give it time to dry. Depending on which piece of equipment I use, if I was core plugging, I would let the gly dry, core plug, grass seed, starter fert, let things roll. About 7 days later, jumps down.
The reason I'm curious about that though is like, so if you're going to glide that area, I mean, you're basically nuking that zone. So you're going to have a shit ton of dead grass. You didn't want to.
Yep.
You don't want to get rid of that first.
Well, I normally mow about 2.5, 3 inches. Try to cut it low to where my thinking is whenever I core plug, I want it cut low. First of all, those cores can lay up there and disintegrate. We don't have to mow them and dull my blades when things grow out. Secondly, mow low. That way you have a longer period of time before you have to mow again. Now, this is on an overseed type deal, but mow low to where you get a good stand of new turf before you have to mow again.
And to help that new seed make contact with the soil, right? Because, I mean, that's something that I think Alan mentioned that in the chat, but I mean, that's kind of also part of it is you want to try to get as much seed to soil contact as possible. No.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So
Definitely.
that's actually a good question. So there's somebody in the chat right now, Andrew P. I mean, because this would be news to me. So, and the reason I was saying that is, for me, like, I mean, you can literally spray tenacity on seed as you're putting it down. Can you do that with glyphosate or quinaclorac? Like when we say there's no time, so I'm not talking about like
I have
a
been told
2-hour
that you
dry time.
can.
Can I literally put down seed and then spray glyphosate on it and still get germination? I have no idea.
I have been told that you can, and the reason for it is the glyphosate goes through the leaf, through the plant. It's not a soil activated herbicide or chemical. Where
maybe it has to do with the mechanism of action or what have you. Like the seed doesn't need any kind of photosynthesis to stay alive, so maybe there's some kind of a blockage of that. So the seed will continue to germinate, and then by the time it breaks ground and starts producing chlorophyll, whatever, the gly is gone, maybe, or deactivated or something like that in the soil.
From what I know, you spray the glyphosate, it goes into the plant.
Yeah, it's
working.
Foliar absorbed. Yeah. So if you don't have any foliage, like that's why it's it's not recommended, but you're not going to kill a tree if you spray a little bit like on the trunk or get a little drift on the trunk. It has to get into the plant through the leaves. So if your plant doesn't have leaves, it can't get into the plant, and it'll just get into the soil, and then the microbes will we'll neutralize it out after a couple of days. But somebody did make a good point in the chat too. You got to make sure, like Roundup, now they're putting another chemical in with Roundup, not just glyphosate. So you have to make sure, the other products in there too. And the label on most of these herbicides, especially things like, the drive accelerate, quinclorac, stuff like that, they'll say in the label how long you have to wait to overseed. So if you ever have any questions or want to, that graphic's a good guideline. But if you really want to follow the label specifically, then it's in there and it'll tell you how long you got to wait.
The reason for that graphic was, like if somebody wants to print it or something, and normally like me, when it's time to go, I don't want to sit down and read a label. I want to get going. And it was just something like somebody could print and put up and say, hey, I'm thinking about seeding in 14 days. Oh, I can't spray this. Oh, I can spray this one day, and just sort of help out.
Yeah.
And that's what the turf track thing's about. Just try to, help out.
Yeah. And while we're talking about seed to soil contact, how are you guys thinking about that? If you're overseeding an established lawn and just trying to get some new grass seed in, some modern cultivars, how are you approaching the whole seed to soil contact problem then? And kind of related to that too, do you think it's necessary to do something like peat moss over a lawn if you're just overseeding, or is that something you just do on bare dirt? What do you guys think about that?
Good question.
I've never used peat moss.
I did a bare dirt overseed with my old lawn the very first year, and I just roughed up the ground with that little garden weasel thing real good. I even, that netting that holds your sod together, I ripped up a bunch of that stuff out because it was just kind of coming up and out. And then I put the seed down and then peat moss on top, and it did really well. I watered the heck out of it, a little bit every day with my timers, which I think was one of the biggest factors. This year, though, I'd like to try getting some topsoil and filling in some spots. How you have like lawns where they've kind of sunken in around your driveway or whatever, and I want to kind of fill it up so kind of is level at least there, and maybe fill in some rough spots. So topsoil. Then I guess would you put the topsoil down first and maybe kind of roll it in if you can get a roller, and then seed it, and then peat moss it? I don't know. Would you do all of that, or just do the soil and press the seed in maybe?
Yeah, I mean, that's the way.
If you got to fill a spot, you're trying to level, then you fill it first.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And normally you want your grass seed within like a quarter of an inch from the top.
Yeah, the top layer. Yeah.
Right.
And then want to bury the grass seed.
Yeah. And then if it's bare dirt, you could do some sort of top dressing. You could even use compost or something like that too. But that's the way I approach it too. If I'm just overseeding my lawn, that's established, I like to core aerate just to relieve the compaction in the soil, but then also, create those little pockets where the seed can fall down into, right? And those, basically act like almost like little flower pots in a way, I guess, where you get that seed to soil contact, the soil stays a little bit moist because it's down. It's down below it's shaded and down in the ground, a little bit by even just a couple inches. So that's the way I think about the seed to soil contact for an established lawn. But yeah, any bare areas that I don't mind putting a little peat moss or compost on top of that. If you're seeding a new lawn or totally bare lawn, like who's the one putting that on that's doing it now on their Instagram? Is that Ambitious
Rooted.
or is that Rooted? Yeah, Rooted.
Doing it.
His
Yeah.
front lawn.
Yeah, you definitely need to put some ground cover on
Dedicated.
that too to help. Yeah, he's going crazy.
Yeah.
Love it.
Doing some good work.
I mean, in the past, I've
Busy guy.
done, in the past when I've done bare dirt, I've done peat moss over top of it. And, because yesterday I decided to embark on this little journey in the backyard, I went today over to Home Depot and I was like, all right, let me go grab some peat moss. And they didn't have any, and I can't find any. And that seems to be echoed in the chat right now because it's mow time. And a couple other people just said, peat moss is gone.
Better go looking. Yeah.
Right.
Ope said, peat moss is gone, guys. And Crazy About Grass said it's been gone for over a month. So, I mean, I definitely saw that today. I went to 2 stores. Yeah.
You
No peat moss, only tiny bags. And I mean, I just killed off 800 square feet of my yard. So I'm going to need a little more than some tiny bags for house plants.
Yeah. And I mean, you don't have to totally clear out, all of the grass too. I think somebody did a reno last year on their lawn where they smoked off their grass and they scalped it and dethatched it, but it wasn't completely bare ground. And then those dead grass stalks kind of provided a little bit of top cover to the grass seeds, and then they just decompose over time anyways and give a little bit of nutrients and carbon and stuff back in the soil. So,
well, the good thing is if you leave that dead grass like you're talking about, you still have some roots to keep things from washing away and disappearing.
Right.
It keeps the ground stable.
Hold in place.
Yeah.
He was talking about tilling earlier. To me, tilling's a bad idea because you fluff the ground up so much. It is good to incorporate things, but you fluff the ground up so much, you go out there and seed. If you don't roll it or something, time it rains, you're going to have humps, bumps, dips. You're going to have a mess because, like I say, tilling just fluffs it so much.
Yeah. Yeah. And you turn over the soil, bringing up fresh weed seeds potentially too. And I mean, from an ecological kind of perspective, you're kind of throwing the carbon that's sequestered in the soil, you're releasing that back up into the atmosphere potentially too. So, obviously on a little scale of a few thousand square foot lawn, it might not, be a big deal, but, just
thinking about tilling up my flower beds, not necessarily the lawn, but the flower beds, because it looks like real rock hard split clay, and whatever plants that are there now are like half dead and gross. So I want to pull those out and then maybe fluff up, the area, simply so that I can go to Sam's or somewhere to buy some boxwoods and maybe some nice flowering something or other that's semi local or native to the area, give it some color, bring it back to life, and then throw some mulch on top. But so I don't think it would be as big of a deal planting plants per se, but the lawn may be a different story.
No, sure. And your grass sinks the carbon in a way back into the ground anyway over time, but just something that's a big thing, especially for farmers. That whole no-till thing is starting to gain a little bit of gain a little bit of thing. Something to think about at least.
But the good thing about tilling though, like in your flower beds, if you buy some type of nice compost, or if you actually are changing the pH or something, you can actually till in your lime and till in your stuff and combine it.
Yeah.
And then the soil is, better instead of just on the top. It's better, 5-6 inches down.
Yeah. Amend it. Yep. Yeah, that's a good point.
So what you think, have them take those flower beds as they are now, rip everything out, till it up, pull some soil samples, you're saying, and then see what it says, and then add that back in with
Yeah, you could
with
pull your soil samples before you
compost.
till it up. And if
Yeah.
it needs the pH change, that's a good time to, work your lime and stuff down in the ground.
Yeah, and you could even till the plants back into the soil too, to let them decompose down in the soil when you till it. And like Olee said too, that's when you can add some compost and any other soil amendments you need to get in there. But
We've got a company out here that's called Soil 3. They actually call it Soil Cubed. I think they're based out of Georgia, but they have a beautiful product that is cow manure, wheat straw, and they're basically super sod. So they have all their grass clippings, and they take and compost that, and then they screen it and all. I mean, it's a beautiful product, clean as everything. And it comes in a 1 cubic yard bag for like $160, $170. And then it's really good for like amending, top dressing, stuff of that nature.
Did they ship it? Did they ship it nationally?
They do. I don't know about nationally, but they do. They do deliver.
Yeah.
So anybody that's like Georgia, North Carolina, South Carolina, that's looking for something really clean instead of buying a bunch of 40-pound bags of something.
Well, I got an idea. Olee, if you could bring maybe one of those bags to GIE this year, I could come down and get it and take it to Bill. Since we wanted to talk a little bit about how the Keep Off the Grass crew is going to be heading down to GIE this year. So,
baby,
yeah.
Yeah.
Nice. Was that a hell of a segue or what? God, I'm proud of myself on that one.
Good. You're like Rich Free Builds over here with
there we
the
go.
plugs.
There we go. So we wanted to let you guys know that that's happening. But we'll have more details coming out over time. We got some really interesting things kind of scheduled and planned already. So, more to come on that over the next few weeks. But end of October, what's it? Around the 20th, 22nd, we'll be down in Louisville. Hanging out with the green industry and all the other lawn care folks that'll be there. So.
Do they
just ran out of bourbon, so I think I'm gonna have to. I'm gonna have to be there.
Yeah, Brent, you and I'll take a trip out to the Buffalo Trace Distillery too one day. So
that's right. But yeah, that's a good point, Sean. I mean, yeah, we're planning on going, and we've been planning on going, so we have some things lined up for while we're there, so we're not just wandering around aimlessly. We got a couple things, so.
Yeah. And speaking of a thing, we got a thing we do every week, right? The keep off the grass lawn of the week. So Brent, you want to take that away? Or was that Zach, you were going to talk about that. Can you talk about that?
At the lawn of the week?
Yeah. Let's do it, man. Brought to you by Pro Pete.
So yet again, this went down to the last minute. Actually, this might be the first week that we had at least 5 different people that were voted for.
Yeah.
So like this was the first week where like more than 3 or 4 people actually got votes. So we ended up, the majority went with somebody who's not a stranger around here. And that's Golf Course Lawn.
Oh yeah.
Heck yeah.
Oh man.
Man, look at that.
Doing some good work over there.
Yeah.
Jeez.
And we got to show our love to the warm season friends. They're about to be on their way out for the season. So, they got to get in.
Not yet. No. Hey,
that's pretty good.
We got one in here. We got one now.
Yeah.
Hey, Cody, what are you doing, man? What's your plans for fall?
You're looking at it, drinking and, not doing much of nothing. I'm listening to you guys, and I had a lot of questions, but I know we're running out of time. But, for a newbie that's coming in all this, and congratulations. That is awesome. Lawn of the week. Where is he at? Is he in Oklahoma?
I think so.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
He's in Oklahoma.
Yeah. Well, anyway, so back to the, is spraying all that herbicides, a necessity before you overseed? Is that something that has to be done? Because reading for Bermuda in the warm season, they, from Clements University. They were saying that you want to get your herbicides down at least 3 months before you even overseed. And I've never even attempted to overseed. So listening to you guys talking about all this, there's a lot of work to be done when you want to do it. So I'm sure
I think if your lawn's got a pretty good base, it's not that big of a deal. Like last year, I just threw some seed down. I didn't do anything crazy. I did core aerate, did a little dethatching, cut it short, but then just threw seed down. The lawn was thick enough to where I don't think I needed anything. So it was a pretty good base. So that wasn't as bad. But certainly if your lawn's struggling, so for you, if your lawn's doing pretty good, you just want to give it some cool season to keep going. It might not be that big of a deal for you, especially if it's like ryegrass or something.
Yeah, and for
ryegrass.
Yeah, for warm season grasses, your herbicide game is completely different than we have for the cool season lawns, right? When your lawn is dormant, right? You see people out there in the middle of winter spraying their lawn with Roundup, and it doesn't hurt the dormant grass, but it kills out anything that's growing over the winter, like any winter grasses, things like that. So it's a completely different game, and the products you guys have are all different down there. So yeah, you definitely got to treat it a little bit differently than what we've been talking about mostly so far tonight with this, spraying to clear out the junk, so that way you can make the room for getting the good grass seed down here right around Labor Day for most of us.
Oh yeah, and I know it's definitely different from what you guys talk about. I've heard speeds on. I haven't read into it to see if I can use it on Bermuda or not. I know that 2,4-D and Image, that works amazing on my Bermuda lawn. This year I did the Prodiamine, but it actually has done pretty good. But yeah, that's usually what I stick with is the 2,4-D and the Image, and it does the trick. It stays away even in the wintertime. My lawn looks pretty dead. Pretty dead.
Yeah. Yeah.
Speed Zone makes a Southern, and I guess that's what you would want would be the Southern green label.
Into that. Is it a Speed Zone? What is that? A broadleaf?
Yeah.
Mostly broadleafs, yeah.
But like say with your stuff, when it goes dormant, you got it easy. You just hit it with some grass kill, weed killer, and
oh yeah,
be cheap and easy.
I don't have anything to do. I just sit out there and stare at it. It's pretty sad. But yeah, that's the only reason why I want to. And my wife had mentioned last year, she's like, don't you want it to be green all year? And I'm just like, do you know what I'm gonna have to do? So she's like,
keep working out in the yard.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. She doesn't like when I'm out there for 5 or 6 hours. So.
All year long, baby.
Oh yeah, and that's what I told her. I was like, this is what it's gonna be all year. So
yeah, hey, and to go back for a sec too to the lawn of the week, golf course lawn. He's, the lawn of the week winners on their own started passing around a championship belt. So if you're following the hashtag KOTG lawn of the week on Instagram. You could see all those antics throughout the week as they're sending the championship belt around like the Stanley Cup to the whoever wins it the next the next week. It's incredible. And every KOTG lawn of the week winner, because we do have such an amazing partner in this with Pro Pete. They're getting either a bag of Pro Pete fertilizer or some sort of Pro Pete prize pack of merchandise. So this is definitely a really, really cool deal that's going on. And if your lawn's looking really good, like the one Zach's showing right now, tag it in a post on Instagram with a hashtag KOTG lawn of the week, and that way we'll see it, and we pick every week, like Zach said, all the way up to today. We were talking about it this afternoon, and even this evening, getting ready to get on the air about who was going to be, because there's amazing competition on there, and it comes down to the very last minute of everybody.
Yeah,
don't wait till the last minute to put it in, right? But yeah, make sure you tag in hashtag KOTG lawn of the week, and that'll get you entered. And like I said, the winner's getting a bag of Pro Pete fertilizer or some Pro Pete swag, merchandise, prize pack. And thanks again to Pro Pete for that incredible partnership that they wanted to
Absolutely.
give.
Yeah. Huge thanks to them. And listen, golf course, my man, you have a lot to live up to, because over the last couple of weeks, Rooted wins and he decides that he's going to get this WWE belt thing going, and then
That's so
passes
awesome.
it to Kenny. Kenny passes it to Harry. Everybody's been making great, reels and videos on Instagram with this belt thing. So we expect big things from you. So, and we've said it before. I think it's freaking awesome that, there's this whole new kind of like sub community that's gathered around us and our dopey little show. So, I mean, thank you everybody. And we're expected to see something really entertaining from you, golf course. So I know you got it in you, man. Let's see what you got.
Yeah, this crazy little group of lawn dads that made the mistake last year of starting a group chat together, and look where we are now, right? we got the amazing partnership with Pro Pete. We got crazy things happening at GIE that we've been able to sort of work out with some companies and things. So, make sure you're staying tuned. Follow, Instagram's always the best place. You can follow all of us on Instagram, follow Keep Off the Grass on Instagram. Make sure that you're, liking and subscribing to the videos, so that way you're not missing when we go live every week on Tuesday nights. And
the guests have been great. The guests have been great. So next week,
absolutely.
Yes. Next week we've got another good guest lined up. We have Mr. Soil Life lined up, and he's in the chat right now. He's here pretty much every week, but he's coming to talk to us about micro life fertilizers and organic products. And he was kind enough to send me some stuff out that I've been trying out and looking more into their products. And I think that there's something that a lot of people may be interested in. So next week, check it out and, come join us. And, obviously same as every week, but that's who we have lined up for next week. So I know Olee's been talking to him a lot. I've been talking to him recently. David knows him. So that's an exciting one. Again, what are we trying to do? We're trying to share our knowledge, and we're trying to look for things that are out there in the industry that we can bring to a wider audience. And maybe that's your cup of tea. Maybe that's something that you're interested in looking into and using. And he's going to come in and talk to us about the products that he represents. And he's going to talk to us about, organic growing and some of those kind of things, which I am big time interested in. So
it seems like so far, all the guests that we've had have either been somebody that one of us has used or has been in contact with and interested in using or learning more about. So I think it's, we're not trying to push anything on anybody. We're just kind of saying, hey, here's some cool stuff that's out there. We're into it. We're going to tell you about it or meet with some folks if you're curious. And so far, it's been awesome. I mean, everybody's come on. It's been very informative and very interesting.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
great,
knowledgeable as hell, right? And
oh man, yeah,
it's
we're amazing.
We're not turf pros, like I said. We're dads that just try to take care of our lawn, and we learn along the way, and a lot of us read articles and the research studies, and some of us dive really deep on this stuff, and some just kind of
wing it.
Some just kind of wing it, and that's cool, man. That's what it's all about. That's like any other hobby, right? You got people that go 10 miles deep on it, and people that just go crazy with it, and that's what makes it awesome.
I discovered Mizzou.edu extension or whatever 2 years ago, so I'm fairly new to everything. I've only implemented it once.
You said one time on another podcast that you would get to work early some days, so that way you could sit there and read articles.
It's nice and quiet. I get full, dual monitors, full keyboard.
You're not fooling anybody, Bill.
Yeah. Oh no, I clocked in early, you guys. I've been here since 7.
Nice. Yeah. Well, that was a hell of an episode, guys. I appreciate talking with everybody. You know, we got a lot of cool talk about herbicides and how to plan your overseed. And if you're not getting your grass seed already, you better go get some, and get ready and all those cool things about what we do when we overseed our lawns. So thanks to everybody. Thanks to the live chat, especially. You know, like I said, feel free, please, to subscribe. You can even find us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, all your favorite podcast apps. And again, a huge shout out to the podcast listeners. You know, we have a big presence live on the episodes, but you know, we love that the podcast listeners are there too. So thank you to everybody that subscribed in whatever way you're connected to us. We appreciate the hell out of it. And we'll see you next week with Mr. Swole Life.
That's it.
Go Hawks.
Cody, you got to get that music rolling.
Football's back.
Hey, hold on just a second before we get off here. I want to tell everyone, because I did receive a few messages.
Don't tell me what to do before I get off.
You know, that, hey, lawn of the week, you do not have to have stripes in your lawn to win lawn of the week. And Nate, shush. Nate will not vote on you. That's
I got to hear this.
No, I want to let everyone know you do not have to have stripes. You know, this is not a striping lawn of the week. This is just a lawn of the week. Let's see, you know.
I mean, they help. They don't hurt.
They do help. They do help.
So Nate did vote for
a good, sexy ocean.
You know, if you want to
lawn.
be like, what is it, Jordan and the Lawn Tools, and you want to take, you know, one section down a little bit lower than the other, do what you gotta do. You know, it looks like crap, but you gotta do what you gotta do.
I'm gonna make fun of David too. If you want to grow St. Augustine that can't stripe at all, then feel free to get in there. We've had Homestead win, right?
Yeah.
That's a St. Aug lawn.
It's a gorgeous lawn. So don't get discouraged out there. Just send us your pictures, man.
Yeah, and they full and weed free or moderately weed free.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, come on.
And podcast listeners too, if you're listening to this a month from now, you know, God willing, we're still doing this a month from now. So feel free to tag, even if you're listening late. You know, this is going to be an ongoing thing that we're doing. So feel free to jump into.
Don't forget that after this is our OnlyFans show. So don't, you know, it's only
like, subscribe, you know, donate, whatever.
Yes.
Start a OnlyFans for exclusive content.
Give us tips.
We got to go.
It's the 20 minutes after the show, and we're all still on the Zoom call.
KOTG after dark.
Talking trash.
That's for like Big Brother, don't they?
It's like what happens on Showtime after Cinemax after 11 o'clock at night, right?
Yeah.
We need subscribers, right?
Yeah, always, man.
Sure.
Listen,
well, that's not what we're doing it for, but that helps, right?
Yeah, tell your friends, tell your buddies who are into lawn care, maybe not even into lawn care.
Yeah.
What is the goal?
You know
What's the
who
number?
subscribed this week? I got to subscribe 2 days ago from my dad. So, Dad, if you watch this one, thanks, buddy.
Yeah. Tell your wives, tell your friends, tell your dad, tell your mom, tell your brothers, everybody. Just get And
listen,
again, that's not what we're doing.
We're not out to be big time YouTube sensations or anything like that. I mean, the whole point is that we want to grow this community. We want to grow the lawn care community. We want to grow the KOTG community. Which we never thought was going to happen. We didn't think there was going to be a KOTG community, but
now we're not going.
Now
anywhere.
There is, and I think it's super cool. But the point is, you know, we're all just sharing knowledge. The chat's sharing knowledge, and we're trying to pool our knowledge. We're bringing on guests, and you know, gaining subscribers and gaining visibility on YouTube is you know, really only going to help share that. And that's
help us reach more folks.
Point of this thing is
absolutely
share knowledge so that everybody can have that lawn that they want to have.
Right.
I think every year there's somebody new YouTube and getting on there, Googling lawn care something, you know, and if we could help them out, that'd be awesome.
Yeah.
And the point is everyone's having fun with this. So that is awesome.
Yeah.
That's what we want. So have fun, just like what's going on right now.
Yeah. More voices at the table, more experiences to share, more knowledge to share. You know, that's what it's all about. So,
and also wrestling belts.
I love it. Meet and see more vendors. Like I had never heard of Tuckahoe Turf until our show. I'm glad I did.
Broaden horizons for sure. There's a lot of products and chemicals that I wasn't familiar with that we've talked about. So
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, and that's it, man. Right? More people that sit at the table, the more chance you have to learn something and share experiences, and that's good for everybody. So
Yeah, I know I've learned more in the last year doing the show with you guys, and bouncing ideas and products off of each other than I did in 2 years of watching YouTube videos.
Yes.
And that's
We can ask direct
that was
questions and get
why-
an answer to your specific thing for sure.
Exactly. Yeah. And that's the whole reason. That's exactly why we wanted to start the show, and that all of us went out and, got microphones and, new computers and TikTok ring lights, like we're shaking our asses.
Green
green screens,
I'll get mine to work one of these days. My green screen.
There you go. It's
right.
good. You look good. Beautiful.
Thanks.
One day
Well,
I'll sound smooth for the podcast, but today is not that day.
We'll get there. Maybe
yeah.
once we get those 1,000 subscribers, we'll use that first paycheck from YouTube to buy you a mic, Bill.
Yeah, exactly. If and when we get
And David needs a
monetized
mic too. He needs a mic bad.
He
Yeah.
needs a mic bad.
I think he
David's
gets
my boy.
short
That's my
changed.
homie.
Yeah,
But he needs a
he
mic.
cuts out too much.
Yeah, he needs a
All
mic.
right, we're
Okay.
rambling.
Well, yeah, Zach or Cody, somebody play the damn walk-off music, man.
All right. Good night, everybody.
Yeah.
I wish I had